Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Germany. It's the F1 cars, and after last week's episode, how can you not be so excited for this? I'm Ben Reggie McConnell, and joining me is the incredibly talented King Kodiak. How you doing?
I am all good, stoked, and ready for what is going to be a no doubt an epic race. Yeah, what a mental race we had last week at Silverstone. That's the only word we could have. That finish. Yeah. If you remember nothing else from the race, and it was full of amazing moments, that finish was just beyond words.
Indeed it was. It was pretty mental to say the least. Now, it looks as though we are going to need to do a rehost, so bear with us. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties to just get this sorted. However, sit tight, it shouldn't take too long. But just looking at the driver's standings, obviously Hyper's getting that crazy win last week out does mean, in fact, that he is actually going to secure himself 10-point gap between him and Nicholas Lange, which is great. You know, that's phenomenal from our perspective. That's what we want to see, right? But obviously now in the driver's standings, in the constructor, that's actually broke that gap even further. Now Haas have actually jumped into P2 as a result. Mercedes is still obviously leading it, but this is the track. This is the one that I'm expecting it to be even more mental than it ever has been before. 17 turns in total and some beautiful DRS straights that will allow you to get some monstrous overtakes coming into that run up towards a hairpin. In fact, the esports hotspots, rest in peace, will be turn 2 to 6. If you remember last season, we saw Martin G have the most phenomenal race. It was a Martin G showreel, and that's exactly what he did. Throughout the entirety of turns 2, right the way up, he was just passing cars left, right, and centre. And if I remember correctly, this is the overtake where he sends it down the inside of the hairpin in such incredible fashion. Yep, this is it. Look at the inside line. There he is. Brakes so hard, gets it right in there, and all of those cars, and he comes out on top. Now, Yonti is going to give us a quick run of the track, and this is turn 1. This is the one where I expect the majority of the penalties to come flying in because it's just so hard to get at speed. You break out the green little runoff area on the left-hand side and get yourself turned in. Now, through turn 2 and 3. And now get the exit of dreams you need, because this is going to be the most action-packed area of the track that you've ever seen, ever, when it comes to the DRS and the toe all the way up to it. And then a very hard braking zone as you get to the 100-meter body, you want to slow your car right the way down and clip the inside apex as best you can and get the good run-off out of here. And again, the throttle control is just so crucial here. You can't afford to make any mistakes with it as you come running further into yet another hairpin, a bit less a bit less difficult than the one you just seen a second ago. Now coming already into sector 3. This is quite a short track if you think about it, mainly because of how fast you're going. But now you've got a quick right-hander. Don't take it too early. Don't run too wide. Very easy to invalidate or even get penalties there. Into a long left-hander, which if the track gets a little bit damp, you might see another Vettel occur. A few corners left to go. You've got a double right-hander now to take us on to the home straight. And again, it's another DRS ring wide open right now. And a charge to the line. Now, as you could probably tell by those beeps, that does mean, in fact, that we are moving into the race. So the league coordinators doing an exceptional job to keep themselves very well in check and get the race up and running in time before the video even finishes. I'm astounded. But I'm going to wait for the weather to come up first before I chuck you under the bus. But be prepared, Mr. Kodiak, because as per usual, I like to stick to a routine. I am going to say to you, I'd like to get the top 3 prediction, but I think weather will dictate it quite drastically. Well, looking at that, it's drying. There you go. Fire away. Hit me with your 1, 2, 3 for qualifying.
Qualifying may well be dry, but that doesn't mean anything for when the important part happens.
Exactly.
Ooh, qualifying now. I'm going to go with so I got it completely wrong last time. I had Mr. Get-Owned in my top 3. No, I had him in my top 3 finishers, and he got absolutely mullered last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Hypers, Preschneider, and Infamous. I'm going to put Mr. Lange outside of the top 3, and he can come at me.
Oh, he will. He will. Absolutely.
He will.
Now, he doesn't actually have a qualifying ban this time around, so he's not in any sort of odd scenario like that. He can actually choose the tyre strategy he wants. It's all down to him, really, to dictate. But this is a track where penalties are going to be quite predominant. Obviously, turn 1, as we talked about earlier, is going to be quite a difficult area to avoid penalties. Majority of the rest of the track is pretty okay when it comes to avoiding penalties. I think maybe the final half of the second sector and the whole of the third sector, you might see some penalties there. But other than that, it's not really that big a deal. And that's only really if you've had anybody send it down your inside and force you out wide, or maybe you just get a little bit too late on the brakes or something. That's the area where you might see some penalties fly in. But for the most part, I think these guys are going to keep this relatively clean. It's just that turn 1. The drivers that want to get so greedy and just try and cut it that little bit more, they're the ones that are going to get the penalties.
Yep. It's very unforgiving. It's very much a corner that tempts you to go that little bit too hard. You want to go quicker than you think you can, and it's just like 9.9, and we'll nail you for it. I love the Vettel reference you stuck in there. Yeah, I make no bones that I'm not a Vettel fan, so for me that was sweet justice for him winning at Silverstone. Not saying he shouldn't have won at Silverstone, he won fair and square, but because I was at Silverstone and Lewis didn't win, therefore it was sweet justice that the win was denied him at his home track. That's what I was getting at. Albeit Lewis finished second, as opposed to Vettel not finishing at all. But that's another matter.
Now, I have some news regarding the race. I'm told that it is going to be a wet race at the end. At what point that is, I don't know. But I seeing the wet weather come in, especially on this track in particular, I have actually driven it myself where it's been wet, as in like raining on the track, but still driving dry tyres. That will make a massive difference when it comes to the way that you attack this track. If you are still stuck on these dry tyres, you can very easily lose it, just like Yenab has done. Bear in mind, he's obviously still on the dries and whatnot, but he's invalidated his lap already. So on the soft tyres, which, by the way, is absolutely not the tyre you want to choose, I think he's invalidated on purpose, though. I don't think he wanted to actually put this time on the board, because if he did, he would have already ruined his own race.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he invalidated. As I jumped to him, he was just coming out of 10-11, and he went too wide. So if he did it before, then, which wouldn't surprise me, because this track is one of these. It's not just turn 1 that is the tempting to go too quick, as we start to see some times coming on the board. There's several places that you can very easily get it wrong just because you think you can go quicker than you can.
Yeah.
Turn 1, prime example. Turn 10, you have to be careful. Less so in these things, but if you get 8 and 9 wrong as you're coming out of the Mercedes arena, you can, if you wander too wide, especially if you're in a pack, turn 10 can be a bit of a nightmare. And then you've got turns 12 through to 16, which has all sorts of opportunities to go wrong at. Yeah, I don't get on well with this particular track. It's a great track. It is absolutely a great track. I just don't do well at it.
Nah, I completely relatable. I mean, I literally drove this track just the other day, and I struggled so hard with just trying to keep it, well within in between the lines and keeping it as clean as possible. It is very difficult to do when you're going side by side into these areas, especially the final sector. If you're going side by side with someone, you are hoping and praying that they don't make a mistake, because you both have to be so perfect, so precise, that you can actually keep it together on the track. Otherwise, that's it, you bend. When one of you is going in the gravel, worst case scenario, both of you are going in the gravel, and you are out of the race. And damage is absolutely on in these races, and you do not want to be losing a wheel by just going too deep or even doing a valve.
Well, the Ferraris are close together. Are they going to try a bit of a slipstreaming effort? Pan Pernick and Danny Coe?
They should. They absolutely should. This is realistically a great track for it.
Danny really exploring track limits there. He's a tad too far ahead to be of any real help to Pan Pernick. But then if they're going to do the slipstreaming thing, they're going to do it along the Parabolica. It's the only place realistically you're going to gain anything. And Pan Pernick's already binned it. Turn 1 has bitten him. What did we say? Yeah. They don't listen, do they?
They don't, no.
Well, they shouldn't really be listening to us at this point anyway.
Well, yeah, there is that, yeah. Now, the Renaults, I think they've just done it. I think Yolta's just been given the toe by Brownie. In fact, I know he has, because I've seen them both together, and this is something that they're quite used to now. They've seen, in Season 3, you may remember Nick Turn and Copy. Copy's still here, obviously, and Nick Turn did step out towards the beginning of the season. but they used to do it all the time in Season 3, and it really worked out. They gained a ridiculous amount of time as a result. We've seen the Mercedes duo here with Hypers and Getter, and we've seen them try it, and it's done quite well for them. Renault have actually really surprised us. Brownie was so far up last week, in Britain, that I was not expecting him to be there. Completely took me by surprise, and he nailed it. Now we're in a similar boat where it's the other way around. Yolta's just smashed into 1:12.233, and we're only still on hard tyres. And that's his first lap, bear in mind. These tyres take a good 2 or 3 laps to be at a great temperature, not including outlap. That is something that is really looking quite good then for him. If he's only 2/10 off Infamous, only 3/10 off of Nicholas Longe, and beating the likes of Preschneider and get a zones, get earned, Hypers and whatnot. Yes, granted, Hypers has not yet put a time on, but this is looking good for Yolta.
Curious that Yenab's come out in the mediums. Wonder why. That strikes me as an odd decision, but oh well, he knows what he's wanted to do. I wonder if he's gambling on the rain coming sooner than everyone else. Everyone, like you say, the soft tyres are not going to work. I think the soft tyres are just cycle laps because people are not planning on running them, especially if we have got wet weather at some point at the tail end of the race. And generally, correct me if I'm wrong, Reggie, but if you've got something to something, so wet to dry or dry to wet, you usually get it around about halfway-ish. It's generally in that region. Yeah. Unlike other sims where it's a case of, pick a lap number out of the sky because you've no idea when the weather's going to change. I've seen a wet to dry race where the wet came 5 laps from the end. It was hilariously funny because we had some people that did risk staying on the dry tyres. This is in GT3 racing, and they were hilarious. They must have been great fun to drive, but absolutely terrifying as well. Great fun to watch.
Exactly.
And in fairness, it was someone that stayed on the drives that won that. I will add. And Yenab, hello there.
Going back to what you were saying, right? We don't know yet when the rain is coming. We only know that it's going to end in a wet race. So the wet rain could come, like you say, but halfway through, or it could come towards the end. The issue that Yenab's going to have now is if that rain doesn't last until his medium tire, it doesn't come until his medium tires are gone and he has to pit already, he's done. There's no way he can pull this back because he's going to have to pit again. You're guaranteeing a 2-stop strategy, and that is something he just cannot afford to do. One thing I am seeing is Hyper's having a lot of issues. He can't get a lap in. He's done 2 laps on these hard tires, both of which have been invalidated. Granted, he's done it on the same set of hards, but he's definitely going for the one-stop strategy. You absolutely go mediums to hards here. Don't even try and think about a 2-stop strategy unless you're Yenab, because he's trying to pull that off right now for some reason. Even Preschneider actually, unless he's prepping for that exit, just doesn't want to go out anytime soon. I mean, he could go out, do a couple of laps on some hards, and then come back in again, and then still do a medium run. Otherwise, he's actually on his way out now. Interesting. Why would you come out this early?
It's odd, isn't it? I'm not understanding. Then again, how many times have we said this? Try and reverse engineer what the decisions of the drivers are. Also, another point of interest, for me at least, Longe still hasn't improved on his first time lap on these hard tyres, and he's invalidated this one at turn 1. I wonder whether he's also struggling to get any kind of consistency out of these tyres. So he's just let one of the Toro Rosses through. Didn't see who it was he's let go, and he's now got his teammate right behind him. So Absinthe who's also put 5. Oh, never mind. Absinthe has just come in. So Longe may not be having to. Oh wow! Full opposite lock for Longe, and that's another invalid lap.
Yep.
He's not having a good time out there.
Again, it just goes back to what we were saying when it comes down to turn 1. If these guys want to get greedy and try and get those extra couple of tenths, which these esports guys absolutely will go for, they will 100% chuck it in, and he's proving that right now by doing 6 laps in on these hards and not able to improve. This is kind of nerve-wracking for him. I'm more nervous for Hypers. I am very nervous for Hypers right now because he's on medium tyres. He's struggling with somewhere on the track, more likely turn 1. And if he can't get it right, he's going to be in a position where he might actually have to start with effectively a qualifying ban, even though he doesn't actually have a qualifying ban. That's the scenario he's in right now. Everyone's put a time on the board. He's the only one who hasn't. You might have to even just do a banker lap just to get, do it like what Danico's done. He's just chucked the time on. And granted, it's a 1:18.5, but still P19.
That's my kind of pace. 6 seconds off the lead, that's my kind of thing.
I don't actually know what my pace is around here. I've not actually done a proper quality lap around here where I felt comfortable.
Well, speaking of Danico, he's just coming to the end of his time lap, coming through turn 15 now, into the suit curve. Let's see what he gets on the board. Looks like it's valid. As he bins it here. No, he's got that one clean. That is...
1,000.
14th with 12.7. So 9/10 off the top spot. Yenab considering soft tyres. Again, quite a few people looking at mediums.
I mean, the mediums are the tyre to qualify on, 100%. That's what you want to qualify, and you have to. You can't choose any other tyre strategy, except Yenab's trying to pull off a soft. I think this is honestly going to murder his entire race. You just cannot start softs here. If you start softs, with all the weight you're carrying, with how much degradation there is on this track, especially in Sector 3, which is where it's going to chuck it away the most, you are going to really struggle to deliver a two-stop strategy here. Yes, soft mediums would sound great in an ideal world, but I think the only reason Yenab would ever do a two-stop strategy is if he absolutely loathes the hards. That's the only way he would ever go for it. You're basically saying, yes, but if I was to do a hards, I would be even worse. So I'm going to take the two-stop strategy and just work out wherever I get. That's the only sort of logic I can pin to that. And I respect that. At least he's admitting a flaw, if that's what that is. But I just don't know. I think Yenab I think he's throwing his race away.
We'll see. We will see. Praechnader has been absolutely nailing it. And he's come in. He was really pushing hard. He was actually running out of ERS battery. He had literally nothing left in the tank, or very nearly nothing left in the tank at one point. So he was absolutely pushing hard. Absinthe is out there. He's done his lap in. He's the only car on track at the moment. He's already invalidated this one, but that's his first time lap on the mediums. He's not going to be too worried about that. But look at the amount of medium runners, or look at the amount of medium starters, or potential medium starters.
Yeah.
Yenab, I wonder if he's playing a bit of mind games.
Mr. Kodiak, it's that time. It's that time. It's the calm before the storm. Right before we get into your favourite time of it, the Banzai phase. This is my favourite bit, because this is the bit that just gets us all super hyped, ready to go. As soon as we can see the drivers just getting ready for that final push, and the race is about to go down, and it's about to go down hard. And there's always somebody who surprises us at the last second with chucking it, like Brownie last week. Chucked in a random P3, I think it was, and it was just like, well, where did that come from? How did you do that? How have you got these skills to be able to keep up with these guys? I am so pleased.
Everyone except for Yenab going to the mediums, so that's Yenab still. I wonder if he's. Did he set his? No, he did set his best time on the medium tyres, so that's a medium tyre run he's set, at least. I wonder if he's either just sort of trying to bluff that he's going to run the softs, which I think everyone here is just like, no, that won't work. There's no one's going to fall for that in this lineup, I'd have thought. I got a feeling he's not planning to come out again. He's just put a set of softs on just because reasons. But Hypers is coming to start his potentially only timed lap. Well, saying that, the mediums might need a couple of laps to get the best out of them, but he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. He's just going to have to hit and hope.
Yep, his teammates ahead of him is on for Hypers. Get on is going to give him that beautiful toe. And so far, Hypers has managed to get through turn 1 without any issues, so no invalidations there. There was a moment there between Get On and Absinthe. We thought there might have been a problem, but make sure you don't lock up Hypers. He's kept that nice and clean. I don't know how much he gained there, if I'm honest. He was still very quick, but look at the traffic. Nicholas Longa is going to be in front of him now. There's no way he's going to give him a toe. Yeah, see you later. Off he goes. Hypers having to deliver a high-pace lap time here. And I think the reason he's gone now is more the fact that he's nervous. If I make a mistake, I'm going to need to go again. And given how his first 2 laps went, he may have to do that. As Infamous has now put the time to beat, a 1:11.135 is the new fastest, as Copy goes a 1:11.772. Times are starting to pop on the board now. The other Williams driver just chilling. Oh, he's just started. Here comes Hypers.
Hypers! Wow. And boom, it's into second. It's not, like you say, it didn't look that bad. I've been riding on board with him the whole lap. It didn't look... I think he was just caught out with traffic. I genuinely think it was having to... You do get that little bit of nervousness when there's traffic around you. Is this person going to turn in? Is this person going to brake where I think they are? I think he was caught out with traffic. He's got enough time, but not enough fuel. He's already on the fuel light. So that is his day done. 1:11.4 is his time.
Brownie's come in. Is this going to be the one we need? No, it's not. It's a 1:11.804. So not even with the tow from Yolta, he still wasn't able to really chuck a time on the board. Now we've got the Ferraris coming in. This is going to be Danico first to the line. He's going to jump to P9. Who's next? We've got McLaren coming. I think that might be Zones. No, it's not. It's his teammate, Gooby. He's starting a lap. Haas driver. Is that Yonti? Yes, it is. Who shoots up to P3. He's actually got a really good time on the board. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to hold on to. I think he might drop to about P6 when the other guys start to get times on the board. And there's a big train of cars. It's actually Williams who's just parked it, look.
Yeah, some idiot was waiting for Yanab. Yanab has actually come out on the softs. There went my thought that he wasn't planning. Oh dear! Dennis has introduced himself to Pracenader, apparently. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear, yeah. Oh no, this is actually really bad.
That's bad.
Has he got damage? He has.
Yeah,
Pracenader's got damage. He's out. He can't even get further than 18th.
There went my top three. Thanks, Dennis.
Oh dear.
Oh dear indeed.
Buemels is coming to the line as well. I think he's on another hot lap.
Yanab invalidated his lap. Turn one again. So whatever plan he was looking to do, well, it looks like it from my side. It's no, he's pulling over. Yeah, he has indeed invalidated that time. He cannot improve. Longue stuck in 11.3. Wow, infamous 2/10 clear of the do it again of the Racing Point. I still haven't got Force India out of my head. How many seasons has it been now? How long has it been? And I still can't get Force India out of my head.
A year and a bit. It's all right. We forgive you. We forgive you. Okay. You're seeing a Racing Point coming to the line is Absinthe. He's not improving. Definitely not improving. He's going way too slow. We do have an Alpha coming as well, which is some idiot. He's going into the pits. Yenab, like you said, is invalidated, so he can't improve. Everyone else, I think, is coming in. I don't think anyone else can improve. So it will be Infamous on the front row of the grid. Nicholas Longue is going to be joining him alongside it. And then Pan Pernek in P3. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, it was. Again, I completely missed that. Fair play to the Ferrari. Just 600ths of a second off that. Never mind, Buemels! Holy! 11.2 on the board for Buemels. Very nicely done. Yelta comes over the line 11.6. Not a bad lap time at all. My goodness me, Buemels showing up at the last, stealing the front row.
That was phenomenal, and he's so close as well. You know, Infamous there getting a 1:11.135. We thought that Yonti was in a great place. We sat P3 initially, and then he dropped down a little bit as a few other people put some times in. Buemel's obviously now P2, and he's only just off him by a 10th, which is brilliant. Nicholas Longue, a little bit more than that off of him as well. Pampernik P4. Hyper's P5, a little bit uncharacteristic. Do not expect him to be as low as he is, but then you've got Yonti right there behind him, Get Earned behind him as well in P7, Zones in P8, Yolta in P9. The toe didn't quite work out for Renault today, as Just Chillin's getting the final of the top 10 positions, with Copy getting the best of the rest. Then you've got Gooby, and then Brownie, then Yenab, then Samidia, and that's when we start to break the 1 second margin, as Danico is on 16th, Absinthe in 17th, Dennis with his 5 players grid penalty as well. That will knock him to the back. In fact, they both have it. They both have a five players grid penalty.
Yeah, I didn't see the incident, so I only saw the penalty being applied. I only saw it applied to Dennis, in fairness.
Yeah, same.
There's the cloud, as we knew was coming. That looks very heavy.
It does. It looks like it could just at any moment come across and then just downpour, which would be horrific. You know,
that's what I'm thinking.
For a start, if we are wrong then, this would explain why Yenab went for a soft sort of strategy. Maybe the rain's coming in a lot earlier than we thought. Maybe that's why Hypers was struggling so much to get a lap time in, because some people just really struggle transitioning from a dry setup to a wet/damp setup. You know, if that is what he's gone for, which I'm looking at it, I imagine he is, then that would explain why they're so off the pace, why they're so uncomfortable, and why he invalidated 2 laps in a row, which is so uncharacteristic for Hypers. He's usually the one you can rely on for that consistency when it comes to the qualifying lap times. But also, even when he comes into the race, he doesn't often get that many penalties. 1 or 2 maybe here or there. But here we go then. So formation lap's underway. Infamous is going to be the one leading us around. Mr. Kodiak, I'd like your top 3, please. You
would?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to bat this at you. You do your top 3 first.
Okay. All right, I'll do it. Infamous has been, and probably will be, at least for quite a while, my favourite driver on this lineup. I think he's somebody who you can look to as being the underdog. He's never had the spotlight shined on him, and I think to an extent, I think that is to his blessing. It means he's got less pressure. He's able to deliver. But I think he's easily distracted by the other drivers on the track, as in he's easily affected by them. I want to believe he can achieve the race win. I do want to believe it. But I can't. I think Nicholas will be the faster driver. I think he's going to get that P1 today. My issue is his consistency. Can he keep the penalties in check? I am going to go with Nicholas P1, Infamous P2, Hypers P3.
That was the exact combination I was thinking of.
Whoops. This is why you go first.
Yeah, with Longate's performance last week, you cannot ever discount him. But like you say, the penalties here are nasty. So he's got to keep those in check. So I'm going to go Infamous Longate Hypers. No disrespect to Boamels and Panpernik. We just haven't really seen them really keep the race pace the whole race long, but they've clearly got pace in their setup. But it's all going to be down to that transition when it happens, and who has banked on a more dry bias setup and a wet bias setup. We could well see Dennis winning this for all we know. And again, no disrespect to Dennis, we know he's quick, but compared to the rest, that's going to be challenging.
Well, it's time for them to put their money, all their skills, where their mouth is. As the lights are on, we're about to get underway. And it's go time here in Germany. It's going to be Infamous who's going to get a beautiful start. Boemels is actually trying to hold in alongside of it, but Nicholas, with his classical great starts, is actually going to be applying that pressure. Having said that, Panpernik's doing a great job to stay alongside of him. We're also seeing Just Chilling looking for an opportunity down the inside of Zones. Zones goes for a send here on Yonti. This is going to be a little bit of carnage here, I reckon, but no, they've actually kept it clean. Yolta's up to P9, a little bit of a touch there between him and Zones, and somehow we are keeping it all together through the run up to it, and this is where all of the excitement will come into it. I don't know if Nicholas is going to go for a send here. No, he's not. He's a bit too far back. He almost goes into the back of Boemels, but we are seeing lots of send it moments happening further downfield. There's contact as Zones is trying to get out of the way here between Get Earned and Yonti. I didn't see any wing damage here from anybody, but I have got there's surely got to be someone.
I don't think there is. I was on board with Praisnader from the back of the field just to see if anybody had a problem. Gooby seems to be lagging himself into Afghanistan at the moment, so he's very slow for that reason, but I don't actually think that there's a bit of wheel barging, a bit of elbows coming out. I don't actually think anybody is going to be destined for the pits, amazingly, and fair play to them. Wow, as I was watching Praisnader nearly barren into Dennis again, although we think it was the other way around. Come qualifying time, it does look like everybody has survived the first lap. Infamous leading the way. He's actually getting himself a bit of breathing space between himself and Boemels, and we'll see what Longate's got in the tank. I mean, he did say he kind of lucked into, or partly lucked into, his performance last time out, and he pushed his tyres way further than he realistically should have done, by his own admission. But again, we did say if anybody could do it, he can do it. Once DRS kicks in, that's going to, of course, help shuffle the field along. Infamous is going to try and push as hard as he can to break that all-important DRS range between himself and Boemels, as Hypers has just gone past the Ferrari of Panpernik into the hairpin. Longate's right with Boemels now, so Boemels, I'm sure, I feel a bit sorry for him in a way, because, again, you realistically know who you're fighting against, and Boemels isn't normally fighting in the top 3 between the likes of Infamous and Longate. But he got there on merit. He has every right to fight for that position. Doesn't have to just let anybody go. But Infamous does. He's very close to being out of DRS range, which will be crucial for keeping everybody else at bay.
Now, his ERS levels are actually much better for Infamous than it is for Buemels. He's actually selling 41% is Buemels, whereas Infamous is sat at a nice, comfortable 70+. Although I am seeing the way that Infamous is taking turn 1, that's where Buemels is gaining the most time. But Nicholas Longuet right there on the back of him, Buemels is going to be in trouble here. This is the bit where he's going to be feeling the pressure. Like you said, not usually someone who races in the top 3, but absolutely has the skills and capabilities to do so. Nicholas doesn't have DRS open. Has he got DRS failure?
Potentially. It's odd that he hasn't, but then, Hypers is 8/10 behind. He doesn't need to defend, or didn't need to defend that time around, so maybe didn't feel the need to kind of push that hard. Yalta and Zones, the Shazoo pair. Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, Zones and Just Chillin' almost had a massive crash there. That was somehow Just Chillin' was getting stuck out to the outside. Zones, I think, pushed him out there. They were stuck on each other, and then there were big send-off there. Just Chillin' lost a couple of places. Big contact there. I think that was him and Brownie. And Brownie's trying to go around the outside. This is going to be very difficult for any of them, but there's a lot of cars, and Just Chillin's getting punted left, right, and centre. He's trying to keep himself out of trouble, and he's doing well to keep his wing intact, but he's getting the abuse. He's getting the elbows, and the Alpha Boys are getting impatient. They're trying to find a way through, and Just Chillin' holding on to P12 for now, or is he? Because some idiot is right there on the back of him.
Beaker's got a great ringside seat for that entire happening going on ahead of him as Hypers gets the new fastest lap, starting to put pressure on Longuet now. The top 4 all have DRS off one another. There's actually a gap between Hypers and Pan Pernick, who sadly has fallen a couple of seconds outside of that top 4. But Longuet is not on Buemels' case, not as much as he was last time around. And again, Longuet has got DRS failure. There's no DRS on that racing point, and Hypers has absolutely mugged him coming into the hairpin. That is crucial for Longuet. If that doesn't come back to him, which it can, then he is going to have a horribly long day.
Oh,
he's going to want that race to come quick.
Look at the Alphas, they're side by side, and some idiot is going to be in trouble here unless Yenab can't pull alongside of him. He just needs to stay there. He doesn't need to actually pass him right here. It's this bit where he does it, and there it is. Yenab up into P13. Now remember, these guys will be in voice communications with each other and their race engineer, as each team has one. So, they will absolutely be trying to keep it as clean as they can and going for the full... I'm going to let you buy here moments. Team orders, that was what I was looking for. They did it. And Denico is looking for Press Schneider, but Press Schneider has not got through the field anywhere near as quick as I thought he would, given the fact, I think the mentality is the issue here. I think he's now in a position where he's like, well, how do I do this? But the fact that everybody outside the top 10, bar Gooby, went for the medium tyres means the rain surely is coming soon. I did see at the beginning, somebody in chat said the rain was coming in 20 minutes. That was when the race was on formation lap. So, do the calculations. I think we're looking at around about lap 15-ish.
Bang in the middle. So that would make sense. Longuet still has no DRS available to him. Hypers had the mother of oversteer snaps coming through turn 1, but still managed to hold on to it and keep Buemels company for second.
I just saw Yenab just give Just Chillin's rear a little bit of a kiss, but he Just Chillin. Oh no! Mega collisions there. Who's that? That's some idiot and Dennis. Yeah, some idiot and Dennis have had a moment together, and somehow Dennis is... Oh no, it was Press Schneider. Yeah, it was Press Schneider. My apologies. It was Press Schneider and some idiot. They came together. I didn't see exactly what happened, but they were both facing the wrong direction throughout the majority, and Press Schneider looks defeated. He's very much frustrated by that, and I think, you got to kind of say fair play, but look at the wing on the right side. That is severe damage on Press Schneider's car.
Yeah, Schneider's front wing has made a bid for independence from his car, so he's. We talk about Longuet having a long day, then that's pretty much summed up Schneider's race entirely. But again, Longuet rather proved never give up, and with the rain coming in, it's definitely worth Schneider just sticking with it. Hypers going for the inside move on Buemels into the hairpin. That should be fairly straightforward. Buemels knows better than to try and shut the door with someone in it. Although he's given it his best to hang on to it. He's going to go and try and hang on to the inside line for turn 8. He's going around the outside for turn 7. Oh, is he going to defend it from Hypers? Oh. No, Hypers is going to try and get past him, but Webbles isn't giving up now. Through 9, through 10. Hypers is going to have the next inside line. Oh, that was very brutish from Hypers as Buemo's bailed out of it just to prevent impact. That's actually helping Longue perfectly, and Infamous. It's doing neither of them any good at all fighting like that. Longue's just enjoying the fact that he's staying in the slipstream, bearing in mind he's got no DRS on that car by the time the rain falls. That's academic anyway. But yeah, that is helping everyone else other than themselves. But great fighting nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing more for Buemels there was it wasn't necessarily about the time gain or the position necessarily. It was the message and statement that he was sending to these esports drivers that, look, you guys think that you are the dog's doodads, but I want to be here. I earned my place here. I'm going to show you I can keep up with you. And despite the fact that the ERS differences are quite substantial, Wemmels is working his way back towards Hypers. We might see another battle going into it. Hypers has already broke that gap down between him and Infamous to 1.1. Nicholas is being gifted a safety net here from Wemmels, just to keep himself in with a running 4P1, because that's effectively what he is. And the battles down the field are still scrapping. Dennis and Danico, they've had their own little battle for a little while, and Dennis is the one who's benefited the most. He's up now into P15. He's got 2-second gap between him and his teammate Beaker, who is currently working his magic on Just Chillin', hopefully. And Just Chillin' is trying to work his magic back on the Alpha, but Just Chillin' will be seeing red. After all the abuse, after all the elbows and all of the hits he's received, he is going to be heated, and he is coming.
I'm amazed, actually, that we're 7 laps in now and only a few cars don't have DRS. The pack is still amazingly condensed, but just still allowing for the likes of Dennis and Danny to continue there. I was on board with Longue. Turn 1 is hurting him badly. Once again, he's getting very squiggly, and he's dropped quite some way off the back of Bohemos. Of course, we know he has DRS.
We've got rain, look, we've got rain. It's falling.
Yeah, wow, that was
quick. They went for mediums so early, because they saw the rain is coming, and yeah, my calculations were way wrong. But now you got to think about, and this is what I was saying before, is it actually time for inters? That's the question you got to ask yourself the whole time you're riding around this track. Now, because I have seen once or twice on this track in particular, where drivers who have gone for an early stop have actually been the ones that looked out and did not get the positions that they wanted. But then you'll see the ones who go for the timing perfectly. And I've seen people go from P13 to P1 as a result of the perfect timing. So you cannot at all predict who's going to get what and where. You can predict that this battle here for the top 4 is going to keep on going at least for a little while longer.
Longue must be grinning his head off the fact that the rain has arrived. But yeah, it's exactly as you say. It's how hard and how quickly. It could stay like this. I've seen that happen before, where the rain starts much earlier than you anticipate, but it doesn't ever get to wet condition. It just becomes very slippery, which, because that's what these guys need. Neb and Brownie continuing their fight for 10th position. Well, oh my goodness me, Brownie really going for a bit of an explore on the outside of turn 1. And there's JC as well. Nails him on the inside. Oh, wow. And Brownie's nowhere to go. Oh, JC. Oh, talking about someone with cojones. Oh, and then Brownie gets a punch in the face from Beaker on the inside. Absinthe has come in as well. If he's going to Inters, he's done that way too early. He's just going to keep an eye on what he goes on to. It's Inters. That's miles too early. Miles too early.
I think he's going for that gamble. He has to, but I am keeping a firm eye on this battle for P10 here, because it is a 4-way battle, regardless of the fact that there are drivers that are also within DRS on each other. Nicholas Longue getting the first time penalty of the session, for him at least, and that is a disaster. Like I was saying, he's someone I would expect to be in P1, but those penalties are going to be the bit that cause him problems. I am watching Just Chillin', who was so close to the back of Yenab. Brownie gets robbed, like you said, of two positions. I think it's because he's missing that left end plate that's causing it. This is allowing Dennis to be there on the inside. There was almost a moment between the two, and Brownie's gone onto the grass just a touch. He's kept himself still going and still pointing true, but here's Dennis right on the gearbox. The exit of Dreams is required. DRS is wide open, and I don't think Brownie's going to have an answer to this, but he can't pass him yet. He can't pass him because of turn 1. No! Oh, he almost lost the car, but he kept it going. That was a bit scary there if you're Dennis. A definite Code Brown moment.
I also wondering if Absinthe had a problem as in, wing damage. Oh, Hypers and Infamous for the lead into the hairpin. Wow, that Haas has suddenly lost a whole bucket load of pace as basically Hypers just dances past him, but he's not giving up on it. On the inside, coming towards turn 8. Can he slow it down? Yes, he can. Boemels and Longe right behind them. Prejnader gets his name on the penalty board. He's pushing hard, and those soft tyres are not helping him in the slightest in these now even slipperier conditions. But, Longe's got the best seat in the house. He really does for Hypers and Infamous having their own scrap. But with that penalty that you called that one before we'd even turned a lap, or before we'd even gotten on the formation lap, you mentioned that Longe was going to fall victim to the penalties, and he has proven you right once again.
I love being right. It's a good feeling. But his DRS is fixed, and he is still keeping up with the battle. And there's an opportunity here for him to get positions. But look how nervous, how gingerly he's going through turn 1. He has to. He just can't afford to get any more penalties as Beaker and Zone swap places. Beaker's up to P11. Zones has got left wing damage, and he almost pinned the car there. He's actually backed right out of this here. I think he's in a mentality where, well, my wing's screwed. I can't hold this now. I'm going to have to just let you guys run, and I'll see if I can recover it again later as Danico and Brownie's gone and lost the rear, and that's allowed Danico to get down the inside and right up there, but he's also struggling. He's fighting that rear of the car, and I think Danico will get yes, he has got DRS, so has Brownie, but Brownie has the yellow fuel warning light, which will be great going into the rain. Not so great right now, where he can't really push too hard. As Danico's coming into oh my lord, Danico's going for a huge lunge down the inside of the hairpin. That really backfired. And he's not gained a position, but he almost lost another one there if the zones had been a bit more comfortable. Brownie also had a problem as well, as Yalter and Get Owned going side by side. They're having a little scrap too. There's just scraps left, right, and centre, and this rain is only making it more spicy.
Oh, yeah, it is. And that rain is coming down pretty well now. So now's the time, as Prejnader and Copy have done, is to get onto those intermediate tyres. I wouldn't be surprised if all four of the top guys. Yep, I thought they'd come in line astern, and that is exactly what they have done. There's going to be an interesting management battle going on who pits when. Of course, Get Owned. He's chosen to continue. I reckon he could have got away with that. I reckon he could have double stacked. But he might be a bit more comfortable on these tyres in these conditions. I think he's going to have to be very, very careful. But again, the second guy, he's the only one to have continued. Everybody else has come in at that same time. Of course, you're going to have a few that will be a little bit unlucky with double stacking. I personally think Get Owned would have gotten away with it with the distance he had. But yeah, what a surprise. Everybody is coming on to the
timing.
Yeah, absolutely. Prejnader is still a very long way back. So even with everyone's pit stop now, it's not helped him at all because, of course, he went onto the soft tyres before getting onto the inters. And he still finds himself a very, very long way behind. Get Owned is just... he must be terrified of his throttle pedal at the moment.
He definitely is. But one thing we both missed is if you look in the P3 and 4 area of the track, you will see Infamous has actually lost the place due to that jump start. Jumped in the pits. There you go. That was what I was looking for. Nicholas is now into P3 then, which is where he needs to be. But now he's also reliant on the drivers around him getting penalties because he can't seem to put the pace on track. He's like in Britain where he was just phenomenally fast and was passing everybody all the time. In Germany, in either dry or wet conditions, he's struggling to be able to chuck any lap times on the field that are actually going to be of any use to him. Get Owned stayed out mainly because he didn't want to double stack, but ultimately he's cost himself so much time. You're going to see him now drop like a stone through the field as he's come in. He's changed over to the inters.
He'll be lucky if he's in a points-paying position by the time he comes out.
Yeah.
I don't think he will be. Yeah, Longe is really struggling. That tail is so loose on that racing point, but Mr. Hypers is he's doing the business. He's just got the car nicely balanced, and here comes Infamous like he has DRS. That was how much the slipstream was really helping him. Can he slow it down? Yes, he does. Nicely done. And that is Longe back into third, but Boemels is quite some way back. He can see the battle ahead of him. He's 1.6 seconds back, so he lost out quite badly. The Pan Pernick, actually, he was 4 seconds behind that lead pack. He could well start to play part of this now.
It's very odd how this is all panned out for people. Like, some people have seriously gained here. And if we look at the position changes, Yanab is up 6 places. Obviously, Hypers is getting 4th throughout his race. You've got Beaker, who's also up 6 places. You've got people who've lost out. Gooby lost 6 places. I mean, he had issues from the get-go, obviously, like you said, being lagged out all the way to Afghanistan, I think that's what you said. But some people have really benefited from this, and others seriously lost out.
I'm seeing so much rallying going on. So much turning left into a right-hander is absolutely unreal. But Infamous is really pushing hard. I've got a bit of a sync problem between myself and Hypers. He keeps swapping on my screen. He keeps swapping between first and last.
Yeah, I'm getting the same problem. He's having network issues today. I'm aware of.
Beautiful. Yelta adds his name to the penalty board.
Yep.
Longay seems to be getting his car back on track, but look at the pace he doesn't have against Infamous. Wow. Now that's not something you say very often, but then, some people just may well have gambled more on the wet setup, as I was saying earlier, more wet bias than dry bias. Some people just are natural rain gods. They were a duck in a previous life or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been in a wet to dry rest relatively recently where I was actually leading when it was dry, and I was mullered in the wet. Not because of setup differences; it was a fixed setup race. But although the cars were different, we were racing GT4s. But I just had no answer for this particular individual in the wet because he was very naturally gifted when it came to slippery conditions. And I was fine in the dry, but I just had no answer in the wet. And I wonder whether, some of these guys, as good as they are, and again, also bearing in mind that the wet conditions is not something they will primarily practice. They'll do some wet laps occasionally if either they feel like it or they're bored, but generally it's a case of exactly. They'll muscle memory the entire lap of any given circuit to the point of knowing how many blades of grass there are on the inside of the apex of turn 4, and things like that. Whereas as soon as it starts to get a bit slippery, as soon as that muscle memory is useless, that's when you see the real talent come out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hypers may be sitting in the Lewis Hamilton car because I don't know if this is the same for you or not, but the gap between him and Infamous is exactly 44 thousandths of a second.
Nice. It's 57 thousandths on my screen, but that is absolutely poetry, isn't it?
It really is.
44 thousandths, absolutely brilliant. It hasn't changed for the last few laps. So
he's had a major mistake through turn 1. He's kept himself clean. He's kept himself alive, and he's not had any contact with the wall at all. But yeah, that's a sign of weakness. And we've got Brownie and Danny Coe having a battle as well between the two of them. They're somehow trying to keep themselves going in this race. But I am honestly astounded by the pace difference between Infamous and Nicholas today. I honestly put Nicholas above Infamous, and I was way wrong.
That's the way it goes, isn't it? I mean, again, Infamous getting the tail wagging on the house. But equally, Boemels has just taken, or is taking little bits of time. It's a little bit give and take between himself and Longay, but he's keeping pace with Nicholas Longay, and fair play to Boemels. And Pampernick is staying right there as well. He's just about out of the slipstream of the Toro Rosso now, and again, Boemels sliding very nicely into the Parabolica, but he's keeping an eye very much on Longay, who doesn't have any slipstream whatsoever off Infamous. Oh, now I have a time difference between Infamous and Hypers. And Hypers is having a whale of a time out there by the look of it.
Well, you'd have to be a whale in these conditions. That's the only way you can really handle the track. He's 1.7 seconds clear of Infamous, and it's 1.4 between Infamous and Nicholas Longay. So they're starting to feel as though, yes, they can see each other, but they're starting to feel like a boat in the ocean, just keeping the gaps going, and that's it. We've lost Gooby. Are we going to see a safety car?
Gooby was in the pits when he retired.
Yeah.
So he did the right thing, brought his car in, and he's called it a day.
Now, his car will probably come out of the pits, and I have seen it once or twice where a safety car has occurred. There it is, it's on its way out.
Oh, it is on its way out.
So we may see a safety car if he was to glitch out, which does happen. We shall see.
We shall see indeed. As on board with Hypers, he's seeing the ghosted McLaren.
Infamous has made a massive mistake. Look at the gap difference now. Nicholas has been given that was almost a collision as well between him and the McLaren. Oh, Nicholas nearly gets pit maneuvered by that McLaren, but he's kept himself out of the way. Okay, so Nicholas now is in tow of Infamous. Infamous is 1.8 clear of Hypers, and he is in serious trouble now. And Hypers is whilst he's clear away, Nicholas, is the one who's struggling now. He actually decided, I don't really want to fight him. I actually want to use him to keep the tow alive because I am struggling and I cannot seem to match anyone's pace. I have to just stay there.
And how often do you ever say that about Nicholas Longay?
Exactly. It's crazy.
The errant McLaren has pulled over and vanished, so Gooby's car is now no longer a moving chicane. That'll please everybody else. But yeah, Longay now right with Infamous with that mistake. I didn't see the incident happen. I just saw the times completely change. But of course, that could well help Buemos if Infamous feels the need to start defending against Longay. Hypers is going to dance off into the sunset, and then Buemos, who is still dragging Pan Pernick with him. There's only that gap's decreased by a couple of tenths since I last looked at it. So the Ferrari is doing a pretty good job of hanging on to the back of Buemos. Then you got another 6 seconds between the Shizou pair, Yonsei and Yalta. They aren't really helping each other as far as Slipstream's concerned, but then they're not teammates, strictly speaking. Beaker and Some Idiot fairly close together for 11th position. The Alpha is going to have to probably work fairly hard at given times to keep that Red Bull behind. And Dennis and Copy are having an argument over 16th position. The Williams and the second Red Bull then need to settle their differences. Dennis on slightly fresher tyres, but nothing more than that. But yeah, it's fascinating. That's one reason why I love the wet weather. But look at the gap up front. 3 seconds now for Hypers over Infamous.
And Nicholas is just so close to the back of him now. He's actually starting to feel really comfortable again. But is that more being masked by the fact that Infamous is slowing down? Is Nicholas actually being sort of held back now as a result of the mistakes that Infamous has been making to slow himself up? You know, Hypers is looking pretty much untouchable right now. He can get a penalty as it stands and still be in P1. That's how good he's driving right now. He's looking phenomenally quick and so consistent. I'm looking around the field and I'm starting to see these battles are starting to form up, and we're going to start to approach in about another 10 laps time the question of, are your tyres going to make it to the end? If the answer is no, you're in trouble. If you can't keep your tyres maintained to go right the way to the end, you are pretty much out of the points straight away.
Yeah, completely. But also, these are the conditions that all of your sensors go into overdrive, because you make one tiny mistake, which would be very inconsequential in the dry, and you're in the wall, and you could well take someone with you. So, you know, this is where the momentary lapse of concentration can really, really hurt. That'll hurt the drivers that do have a bit of an inconsistency issue as well. Not necessarily when it comes to penalties, like, you know, as our own Mr. Longay is suffering from, but you know, the likes of possibly, you know, like Buemos and Pan Pernick, who aren't necessarily known for being consistently in the top positions, those inconsistencies can really, really hurt in these conditions. But they are still very, very close. Pan Pernick is really close to Buemos now. Again, another couple of tenths off. So Pan Pernick doing a very good job. Again, it's only 2 seconds. Only 2 seconds. It feels like a blooming fortnight in these conditions between themselves and that battle for second position. But Longay is really pressuring Infamous now. So either Infamous is just going to basically ignore the fact that Longay is there, knowing. But we assume they know. Whoa, that's not a great exit from the final turn. Yeah, don't tell me you were defending that inside line. Your tail got very, very loose. Oh, here comes Longay. Is he going to try and ying that one on the inside of turn 2? No, he doesn't. He thinks better of that one. I was just envisioning the Racing Point just absolutely throwing that one on the inside of 2. He didn't go for it. Is he going to shape up for a move into the hairpin? ERS up. He's gaining. Infamous is defending. Oh, he's going to have to go the long way if he's going to do it. Henry on the brakes. Infamous is not having any of that. Nope, that's not going to have it. Ooh, he's still there. He's still there. Oh, my goodness. If anyone can pull this off, it is definitely Longay. Infamous holding on to the inside for 7, and he's not going to get the inside for 8. That's the crucial turn. And still side by side as they are coming out of the Mercedes arena. And Longay's going to have the outside. Infamous giving adequate racing room. That's Absinthe that's getting out of the way. He's actually on full wets. He's been in the pits again. But here comes Longay's nose in the lead. Big battle over as he just rumbles onto the grass. Oh, and into the stadium. Wheel banging between the two. Longay does manage finally to nose into the lead. And whilst all that was happening, Buemos has spun. Boemels is off into the dust. Oh no, and he's now stopped, waiting for a gap to come back on track at turn 11. Oh no, and no, on my screen there's been an incident. I think I've lost sync with Boemels because on my screen he's just had a big incident. Oh, there we go, he's jumped up to 5th.
Yeah, he's in P5, he's living the dream. But Long Way Longe, that's his new nickname from now on. He takes a long way through so many corners and he manages to get the move done. And the problem is, bear in mind that all started from this hairpin that they're now approaching again. And we're going to see this go one more time, I reckon, very soon. But no, Boemels is still alive. He is still P5 and it is still going to be Yonti who's going to be behind him, hunting him down. But look at the gap between Hypers and the battle for P2. That is now 4.3 seconds long. This is so good.
So now it's all on Infamous just to maintain the gap between himself, to make sure that gap does not go over 3 seconds. However, look behind him. Pan Pernick is coming. That Ferrari is getting close and getting close quickly. So he is going to be right there. Now he's dispatched to Boemels. Boemels obviously did make a mistake. On my screen, he was far worse than it actually was. But clearly has made a mistake because there's a good... That's going to be about 3-ish seconds between the two. I've got no time between Boemels and Pan Pernick. So that Ferrari is really going to get involved. This is going to be brilliant. If you've got a battle between two, you know that we all know the procedure. Punch, counter punch, defend. You know who you're defending against. As soon as you add a third one in there, all bets are off. It could go horribly wrong, or you really find heroes, diamonds in the rough. But now Longe seems to be really getting into his stride, so Infamous has got even more work to do now.
So, the work has been cut up for him, and Nicholas having that 3-second penalty means it's going to be even harder for him to hold not only P2, but even a podium. Like right now, he's currently outside of that. That penalty has cost him quite severely. Pan Pernick is looking so good right now. This would be great. If he could get a podium for the first time in his Rwagnation career, this would really stem so good for him going into any future races. The confidence, the momentum that brings with you makes a huge difference going into the next races because they're all so difficult from this moment forward. They are probably the most enjoyable races on the calendar, but they're also so difficult and they can very easily bite you straight off the track and chew you up, spit you out, and see you later, alligator, as he still stays P4 though. 6/10 is where we currently sat, and Nicholas Longe is only losing time to Hypers.
Totally. Now, Pan Pernick's got a really awkward decision to make. He's clearly proven he's got the pace over these two, especially whilst they're squabbling. He's now going to think, how the hell am I going to get past these two?
Well, I think he doesn't have to. That's the thing. I think in his mind, he's probably going to be happy with the podium, right? And obviously, remember, these guys have got race engineers, so they've got access to telemetry. They can see all of the drivers on the track, and they can see how many penalties they've got. They can roughly see how much tyre wear they're getting per lap. They can also work out roughly when they're going to need to pit, and they can kind of then build a strategy as a result off of that. So Pan Pernick will be very much aware that Nicholas Longe has that 3-second time penalty, and at the moment, his race engineer will more than likely be telling him, just stay with them. Just hold on to it. You're going to get a P3 if you can hold this position because Nicholas has got no answer to this at all. Infamous is also struggling. There's a high possibility he's going to lose the rear like we saw going through the final corner and also through turn 1 where he lost a lot of time between him and Hypers. So Pan Pernick, all he has to do is be consistent. That's all he's got to do, and podium is his.
Full wets for Preachnader. Oh no, he has gone into it. They briefly showed us full wets. Absinthe is still going on full wet for some inalienable reason. Yeah. Preachnader pitting, now that's an interesting one because there was no repairs done on that car. So people, if that's an indication on how much he's burning the tyres out, then expect everybody to be in at least again. What you were saying about Pan Pernick just staying with Infamous, that's all well and good, but Infamous is losing time against Longe. That gap could at that rate, would potentially get outside of 3 seconds. But if they have to come in again, that's all going to shuffle up anyway.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the worry we got to have. But I can let you all know that the Driver of the Day voting has now opened. So if you want to get your Driver of the Day voting in, ! Vote in the chat is what you need to do. You'll get a link. You click the link, you fill out the form, and you could nominate your driver for Driver of the Day. Last week, it was Nicholas Longe. Who will it be this week? Currently, if I was to choose anybody, I think it's hard to look anywhere other than Pan Pernick right now.
Exactly what I was thinking. Pan Pernick's done a brilliant job, and Absinthe is out. He's even sped in the pit lane. He's had enough. No matter what he's tried, it hasn't worked for him. Danico getting his name on the penalty board as well. But yeah, Panponic, totally. He's done an absolutely ace job in what is, let's face it, very, very difficult conditions that are getting worse. That rain is falling very, very hard. I wouldn't be surprised if people do start to think about full wets fairly soon. Probably a bit too early. You've got no standing water. But that rain is falling really, really hard. So, ooh, this is not done. This is not done yet. Because, again, if those inters are starting to wear out, that's the last thing you want to be on if it's going to be raining this hard for a consistent period of time.
Nicholas is in. He's in the pits. He decided that this is the moment to go for, but what is he going to do? Is he going to listen to what you said? Is he going for the wets, or is he going for fresh inters to go to the end of the race? I'm looking at his pit crew. They're wets. They are wets. Despite the fact that his pit crew is not there, he is absolutely getting wets. Or is he?
Yeah, they've had enough. It's like, well, you put your own tyres on. Oh, there they are. What was that?
Oh, it's inters. He is inters.
They were wets for me as well. Yonti has gone on to wets, though.
Nicholas lost so much time.
He did.
That was actual
I reckon his pit crew basically said, "No, fit your own tyres. No, you do it." And they were, "Oh, fine, we'll come out and do it then." That is a disaster for Longay. Absolute disaster.
So I believe I've seen this before, and I believe this is only when you don't tell your pit crew that you're coming in. So I think what he did was, at the very last second, decided, okay, it's time to go. And he went into the pits and didn't tell the pit crew he was going in. And it's the same situation. If you remember, Germany in 2019, in the official Grand Prix, we saw Hamilton have to take himself into the pit lane at the very last second. And he had the most horrific pit stop that we've seen pretty much ever. It was such a tragic pit stop. And now we've seen the same thing happen to Nicholas here, where he's lost an obscene amount of time, where he's now there with Yonti, who also pitted as well, and is actually within that time. Interestingly enough, though, Nicholas Longay did actually have time breaking down between him and Hypers. He was actually closing in. Somehow he was making that gap up. But the problem he's got now is he's got 8 laps to somehow magic up a ridiculous amount of places. Either his inters were in really bad shape and he was scared he was not going to make it to the end, or he's gone for some crazy undercut strategy that isn't working. Zones is in the pit, so he's clearly feeling as though he's struggling. I want to have a look at Hypers just to see how he's taking this hairpin and the exit.
Gingerly, basically. He's just being very, very careful. Curious to see what Zones goes on to. Panponic going over the apex of the hairpin and almost looked like he was going to try and make a move on Infamous. And Zones has gone full wets. So I'd say that that's about right, because big locker for Panponic. Steady. I'd say that that's actually a fair consideration to make, because that rain is chucking it down so heavy that I'd say the full wet runners are going to start to come good. There's Dennis Vyers as well, full wets for his car. That's not a bad call, I don't think. But Panponic is probably just going to copy whatever Infamous does. As soon as he comes in, the 4-0 is going to follow. What's Hyper's doing? He's in. The Merc's in. Here's the Haas coming in.
No, but Panponic is. He's in as well, so he's decided that the tyre needs to be changed, but what to? Is he going for fresh inters, or is he going to chuck on the wet tyres? I think wets is a mistake. Hypers is in, he's gone on the wets. I don't think the wets are the right tyre right now, because the standing water is not on the racing line. So, unless you're having issues on track, I think you're only going to cook these wet tyres way more than you want to. I think Infamous may have just actually got himself the win here.
I don't reckon he's going to be able to keep on track. I don't think there's going to be enough life left in those inters for him to do it. If there was 2, maybe 3 laps left, he'd be right there. He'd do it. I'm not convinced. But it really depends. Like you say, if these wets just boil themselves, then yeah, they're knackered. But they're now caught in a rock and a hard place. That rain is so heavy that it's going to become full wet conditions very, very soon.
Yeah.
However, how much of the race is left, how much life is left in these inters, they may as well take the gamble. Infamous may well, if he can just keep it on the island for another 7 or 8 laps. Well, that's like Praisner didn't need any more bad news. He's got himself a penalty now. But it's a very interesting mix, isn't it? Hypers, Panponic, Yalta, Yonti, Beaker, Zones, and Dennis all on the wets. So, and Infamous is continuing.
I think he's going to the end. I think he's going to chance it.
Well, I mean, there's gonna come a point where there's no point unless he's falling off the road every lap. He won't gain the time back he loses in the pit stops. But Hypers again quite sideways coming through that final turn. Now, here's an interesting one: Panpernik and Yenab, fourth position for battle for fourth. Now, these are very worn inters against the fresh wets, so this is a direct, is it worth it kind of comparison to draw. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Yenab is doing a very good job. He's actually had a really solid race, and Panpernik almost gives that gearbox a kiss in a bit there, but Yenab still stays P3. Panpernik's still alongside of him. Well, in the rear of him is what I was more trying to say. Yeah, if they go off the racing line, like right now, for example, the wets are absolutely the tyre of choice right now. You can see the standing water, you can see him moving over to it. And he's trying to keep the tyres at a nice temperature, but I don't think it's wet weather tyres just yet. I think it's still inters, despite the fact that Yenab looked very uncomfortable, very out of shape. And Panpernik is here. He's fired, isn't he? Look at him go. He is ready for Yenab. He's actually going to send this, surely.
He's going to nail it. Yeah, he's gone for it.
Is he going to actually hold it, though? That's the main thing he's got to think about, because he's actually taking the inside, which makes it even harder, but they're still going side by side, and Yenab gets the position back. Oh, does he? Because the cutback of dreams from Panpernik. Oh, he's had to back out, but that was going to be such a good overtake from Panpernik. I honestly wanted that to happen so bad.
Yeah, but I'm stunned Yenab defended that as well as he did on rubber band-like tyres. That was awesome. Loved it. Brilliant stuff. I'm going to double check if Yenab has a penalty, because again, if he may well just just stay there like we think is happening. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Does Yenab have? He has 2 warnings. I'll beg your pardon. That's Hypers I was looking at. 1 warning, just a single warning for Yenab and Pan. I'm pretty sure. Complete clean bill. No warnings at all for the Ferrari. So that's all on track. But equally, I don't know what the gap is. I have got no gap between Hypers and Infamous. That's another one to keep an eye on. What's going on here? So Yenab and Panpernik onto the Parabolica. He's just going to dance through the water, isn't he?
Yeah.
No,
he's a whale in the ocean, and he's allowing that standing water to help him get the extra grip he needs, and that's allowed him to get the inside line, get the exit he was so comfortable on, and off he goes now up into what looks like P3, but I assure you it's actually P4, because Buemels, despite the fact that he's showing currently P18, he's actually right there behind Gettern, so he might actually be in the right place.
Yeah, I was going to say, Buemels was not in the top 3, but... Yeah, I'm struggling to know where Buemels is. Yeah, right behind Gettern, exactly as you say. He can't decide whether he's 7th or 18th at the moment, but an interesting...
7th then, so it is about for P3. Has Panpernik actually just suddenly caught up to... No, he hasn't.
No,
okay.
I've got the same problem. No, he hasn't.
I was going to say, no way did he catch up that quickly, unless Hyper's had an issue.
So Infamous has got no choice now. He has to continue. He's committed to that particular strategy, and my goodness is he short shifting. He's short shifting something awful. He's got himself, though, I'd say about 10 or so seconds over Hypers. Hypers has got to absolutely gun it to close that gap down, and Infamous just has to tiptoe around. But Panpernik, what a job he's done. He's already got himself 2 seconds, so those wets are now coming good, but is it too late? Oh, love it.
It's honestly getting so spicy.
Yeah, the drivers' hearts will be up in their throats, and so they won't be enjoying this as much as we are, I dare say. But Panpernik, what a stellar job he's doing at the moment. That defensive effort from Yenab last lap. Blummins, hats off, salute to you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nicholas Longue is still stuck P8, I think he is, because Buemels is there. P7. Yes. Buemels made a mistake, and that's allowed Nicholas through. There we go. Now he's in a P7. That's also some idiot has gone through as well. So now we're starting to see the top 8 are now in the correct order, but there is actually a Buemels here in P9 as there he is. He's back. He's back into his usual location. We've received the information, but he is quite some way further down than he necessarily wanted to be. But Panpernik has driven such a great race so far. I am massively impressed. Right now, he is my driver of the day. And if you want to get your chance to vote for your driver of the day, ! Vote in the chat if you're watching this on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, sadly it's already going to be decided by the time you get to watch this, but please click that link, vote for your driver, and we want to see who you think is the Twitch chat driver of the day.
I reckon Hypers is going to have Infamous before the flag falls, because he is going fast on the Haas. That lead is not decided yet.
I'll have to keep an eye out for him. I mean, Hypers was phenomenally quick early when he was on the intermediate tyres. You can see Infamous now is much closer than he was physically because you can see it with your own eyes. Never mind the telemetry, but Hypers has got very limited time to do it on. That's my only worry. I know you think you can do it. I'm not so sure. I've doubted Infamous once. I don't think I should doubt him again.
Oh, Infamous has done a brilliant job. Don't get me wrong. All respect. I'm not convinced he's going to keep Hypers at bay. Because Hypers is going at him fast. That gap is disintegrating corner on corner. Hypers has got so much more confidence. I reckon Infamous went for a dry-bias setup. So again, they all knew that the unless he didn't have any kind of wet orientated setup whatsoever, and this is a full dry setup, and he's just dancing on everything like he's got eggshells all around him. He doesn't want to break. But now, there we go. I now finally have a time between Hypers and Infamous. 4 seconds. I counted that to be around about 8 2 laps ago. So that's. I reckon Hypers is going to be there. Whether he'll pass him, though, it really depends how much time life Infamous has by the time Hypers gets there. But he will get there, I'm sure of it.
I've just been informed by Furball, who's one of the stewards. He's told me that the gap was 4.9 seconds at one point, but throughout, he's gaining about 2 seconds per lap, is Hypers. So if that's true, yes, he's absolutely going to catch him. But then catching someone and passing someone is two very different things. But the pace he's got, surely it should be a nice, simple overtake. But I need to quickly go and have a look at Nicholas Longe and Just Chillin', because they're coming into the hairpin. Nicholas has got the inside line. Just Chillin's going to be stuck out there and literally hung out to dry, despite the fact that it's raining, because Just Chillin's lost the position, although he's still scrapping. Oh, that was close. There was almost contact between the two. In fact, they're still drag racing, coming out of the hairpin, leading it through. It'll be JC who's got the worst line after this left-hander here. Nicholas is going to try and stick it to him. JC's giving him a little bit of a push to the outside. Nice and fair, I think, and he will hold P5 for now. Nicholas Longe is not backing out. He needs this. Even though he has the penalty, he has to somehow go for it. He's taking the inside line. Just Chillin' trying to hold him down the outside. Just Chillin' is still here. He's still holding Nicholas out there, but I think he's got it. He must have it now, surely. 2 right-handers coming up. He's got the inside line. Yeah, there it is. Nicholas will take P5. Oh, my Lord. They were really going for it.
Less than a second now. Infamous. My time is stuck on 2 seconds. But that is not 2 seconds between Infamous and Hypers at all. No. Oh, with only 2 laps. With less than 2 laps to go. Hypers is still going to have to work for it. But he's now right under the rear wing of the Haas, yellow sector 3. Who's binned it? Don't know. This is going to be interesting. If Infamous defends this, oh my God, he's earned.
Why is it always the last lap? Why is it always Hypers and last laps? He just keeps doing this to us, where we get this drama, and he's sat right here with race leader right in front of him, who's on these very old Inters, struggling to keep everything alive. Hypers is ready to go for it. You can see the anticipation is so eager for him. He's just, the opportunity's there. I can go for it. I need to find a gap. Infamous is holding it nice and defensive, whereas Hypers is just all over the rear of this Haas. I don't think the Haas has got any solution to this, honestly. I think Hypers will get him, not yet, not until we get to the long run. But we are now about to enter the final lap of this Grand Prix. It's been a very strange one. Infamous is going for a defensive line. Hypers is going to have to take an awkward one if he was to go for the overtake. And Infamous is braking a little bit early. There was almost damage, but he's still close. Infamous is trying to hold him slowly as he can. I don't think he's got an answer to this as Hypers goes for the lunge into the inside. This could be his undoing. This could be Infamous getting this back if he's got the toe. And never mind, because look at the drive. Hypers is already gone. See you later, Alligator. Enjoy your race victory. 22 laps on intermediate tyres is just too much for Infamous to handle, and Hypers will take race lead.
All credit for Infamous for hanging on to those dead tyres for that long. Absolutely amazing stuff. He did what he could, but Hypers, I'm a little surprised why Hypers didn't wait for the hairpin, but he was that confident he could nail him into turn 2. He just positioned himself perfectly, and through he went. Brilliant stuff. But yeah, I called it. I just saw that gap disintegrating too fast. Wow, did Infamous want the checkered flag to fall a lap early? Because then it would have been a brilliant, still a damn good victory for Hypers, don't get me wrong. But in those conditions, excellent effort for Infamous. Haven't we had some amazing drives tonight?
It's just been insane. It's been so good. But here we go then, on board with Hypers through the final 2 corners. Hypers has driven exceptionally well. He's done everything correct and he's not done anything wrong. He got helped out in the pit stops as well, and he takes the race victory here with Infamous crossing line in P2. Panpernik getting his podium, the first one in his Rwagnation career. He's going to be very happy with a nice solid P3. Yenab will take the line and go for P4. And Nicholas Longe will cross P5, but penalties coming into it means he will probably fall to about P6. He's got another one. He's going to drop like a stone. No! Here comes Buemels. That's P6. Oh, he's lost out as well. Yolta just chilling. Hey there. Welcome to P5. Enjoy your points. That's what Captain Consistency gets you.
He'll be livid about that. Longe will be absolutely livid about that. But fair play, JC. Up into 5th. Other penalties then. Oh, Yelta just a couple of tenths shy of inheriting that 6th position. But, oh, wow. I'm sticking with my driver of the day, though. Panpernik did everything right. So did Hypers and Infamous, in fairness. So did so many other people. But, again, it comes back to expectation. We expect Hypers and Infamous to be in those top spots. We haven't seen, like you said earlier, it's Panpernik's first ever podium, and he deserved it. He was right there on pace, did the strategy perfectly well. Top notch. Driver of the day for me is definitely the Ferrari of Panpernik, as the AI are now having a great old scrap with themselves. Yeah. Panpernik's he's just enjoying he's soaking up the cheers of the crowd. Doesn't care if everybody else is going to try and kill themselves. Rightly so. Well deserved.
So I think Buemels is actually P5. I think JC's P6. I think everyone outside of the P5 is actually down a position due to Buemels having a weird network-related problem. Hopefully we'll get that confirmed later. I can only tell you what I'll see from my perspective.
According to the end of racing, was 6th.
Oh, there you go.
So that means Longe was 7th.
Which sounds right to me. But there's your podium then. Hypers absolutely nailed it. And your driver of the day is actually Absinthe, interestingly enough. Although he did DNF. I feel like we're being trolled here. 31% of the vote has gone towards Absinthe. So congratulations, Absinthe, for getting Twitch chat driver of the day. But I mean, realistically, we all know that Panpernik was the man who drove so well today. And he gets that nice, juicy P3. Do you reckon he's going to be happy about that? I think he might be happy about that. And we'll get to hear about it in the drivers' interviews coming up very soon.
I hope he will. And I hope he is, because he has every right to be.
So, here's the rundown at the end of that Grand Prix. It is Hypers who gets the race win in such solid fashion. Considering he started P5, he drove incredibly well to get the P1 victory and get those 25 points in his pocket, with Infamous there in P2. He tried his best. He got the fastest lap in the qualifying. He just wasn't able to carry that right the way through, and on the final lap, it all fell apart for him. He finishes P2, though, gets a really good solid result, just not enough to get that first place position. Panpernik, with his first podium of his career, will be sitting very comfortably there in P3. Yenab there in P4, just chilling P5. Buemels P6 due to the penalty. Nicholas Longe, due to his penalties, will actually be P7. Yolta in P8 with Yonta in P9. Geton gets the final points position, with Samidia getting best of the rest. Now, fun fact for you, I am told that Samidia actually got a puncture on that last sector, so that would explain why he dropped like a stone. Beaker in P12. Brownie P13, Danny P14, Zones P15, Preschneider P16, Dennis P17, Coppit P18, and then your DNFs were Absinthe and Gooby.
Big shout out also to Yenab, 14th to 4th.
Yeah, definitely smashed that one, let's be truthfully honest. He really, really deserved that. Right, now let's go to the driver interviews, and for the first time we're actually going to have our good friend Panpernik in here. Now let me expand the team so I can just see him. Where is he? He's not even in. He's not even in. Panpernik, if you're watching, if you want a driver's interview, I need you to go into a voice chat so I can drag you in. But we will go.
He's off partying already.
Yeah, he's already having a grand old time. Right then, we'll go to P2 then in that case. So let's get our good man Infamous in here. Infamous, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Wrong answer, you meant to say very wet.
Yeah.
How was your race? The qualifying looked amazing. A nice solid position. Were you running a dry setup or a wet setup?
I was just using a dry setup. I always use my dry setups anyway, even if it's... because there's not too much difference between dry and wet setups on this game. So, yeah, just full dry.
Fair enough. Well, fair play. That was a very solid pace in both quali and in race then in that case. Now, you chose to take the inters to the very end. Was that a mistake, do you think, in the end?
I think in hindsight it was a mistake, but I think if I had, conserved the tyres a little bit more at the beginning of the stint, it may have been possible to beat Hypers. But I think for the last, I don't know, maybe 10 laps or so, my tyres are finished. So I was having to trundle around like 2 seconds off the pace. So yeah, I mean, I think either way I would have got P2, so I'll take it.
There was a definite Kurt Brown moment on that final lap there for Hypers as he was chasing you down the home straight. Obviously, you had to brake at your normal braking point because of the fact you were on these very old inters and didn't want to run wide and get a penalty. But he very gently touched the rear of your car after having that massive scare. Was that at the moment when you realised this is done?
I think I realised it way before then, but I appreciated the little push through the first corner since I was going so slowly. But yeah, I think I realised it. Just watching the delta come down like a couple of seconds each lap, I knew he'd catch me with about 2 laps to go, so there was not much I could do without destroying my tyres.
No, fair play. I mean, it was a great result overall, a nice solid P2 from you. Next week, have you got any plans? Have you got any sort of practice scheduled in, or are you just going to come in and absolutely smash it as usual?
To be honest, I don't actually know what the track is the next time, and I generally only do a couple of hours on the day of the race, so I don't think I'll change the formula. It seems to be working okay.
Fair enough.
So carry on doing that.
It's definitely working out for you, but I can inform you that it is in fact Hungary next week. Now, a little bit of inside knowledge for you here. This is actually Hyper's probably one of his best tracks when it comes to race pace. He is so fast here, so my prediction already is going to be him in P1. Do you think you can dethrone it?
I think Hungary is a good track for me as well. I haven't done it so much game, but I think I go quite well around there, so challenge.
Right. Challenge accepted, did I just hear?
Absolutely.
Oh, I love the spice. Give me the drama. All right, brilliant. Thank you so much for tonight. Well done on your P2, and we look forward to seeing you smash it next week.
All right, cheers, pal.
All right, let's get Hypers, the man of the hour, in here. Getting P1 in the end. Had a rough qualifying, to say the least. Obviously, struggled on your first couple of laps. Couldn't actually get a time on the board. But in the end, it all paid off. You did get P5. Again, bit lower than I originally anticipated. But then you silenced everybody who doubted you and secured a P1. Just tell us how it went in that race for you.
As you said, qualifying was quite bad. In the session prior to this, around 1 hour before, I did a 10.8. So I was pretty disappointed. But I did go for I did modify the setup just slightly so it would fit the wet conditions, since they were there for the majority of the race. So the qualifying wasn't great, but straight away into the race I found good confidence. The setup felt really good even in the dry. It wasn't great in quali, but in the race it was really nice. So I made crucial moves. I had really good pace at the start. And as the race went on, it was pretty much I started to control it. After the pit stop, I built a little bit gap. Nicholas fought with Infamous a little bit, so I took advantage of that. And then the call to go into the wets, I was going to reach the puncture zone towards the end, and I didn't want to risk it. At some point, I doubted that it was a good idea when the gap was going from 11.3 to 10.9. That wasn't great. I thought that this is it, this is over. But thankfully, as the track got even more wet, I started gaining even more on Infamous, and in the end, got the win, which I'm quite happy about. Again, on the final corner, on the final lap.
Now, who made the call for wets?
I did. So basically, in the Mercedes chat, there was, of course, my teammate, and there was FK and Jeb. And pretty much half of the guys were saying, yes, stay out. Half of the guys were saying, yeah, come in. My Twitch chat also was like, half of the people were like, stay out. Half of the people were like, come in. But I decided to come in just because I was going to near a puncture zone. And knowing my luck, I would probably explode straight away at 75%. So I decided not to risk. And yeah, that was pretty much my...
Oh, you cut out. Are you still there?
Yes.
Welcome back. You cut out for a second there. We heard pretty much that, and then you cut out. Do you want to try again?
So pretty much that was my call. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that better?
Good. Well, it was
sorry.
very
Push
enjoyable.
to talk on my wheel. Push to talk on my wheel. So.
Okay. I see. I mean, from our perspective, it was incredible. You had so much pace. People were struggling to keep up with you, and we had a very uncharacteristic situation as well when it came to Nicholas Longuet in a similar boat. He also struggled to keep up. For him, he also had a DRS failure as well. I don't know if you know this. For like the first 4 or 5 laps, he had DRS failure.
Yeah, I saw. And I took advantage of that early as well.
Now, I was just talking to Infamous about next week. Next week is obviously Hungary, and you know your race pace is ridiculous when it comes to Hungary. Are we expecting to see you getting a solid P1, or are you going to lose out to the likes of Longuet, Preschneider, or now Pan Pernik, who secured a P3?
So yeah, it is a good track for me. I managed to win in AOR there. However, this is also the week of Nürburgring 24 hours. And I might be having a stint very close to Rwagnation, so probably right before, which I'm hoping to change. But I'm definitely gonna put way more effort into that race. But I'm still not gonna make that excuse. I'm gonna do my best, and I'll see how it goes. Hungary has always been a good track for me, and I'll see how it goes. But as I said, I have Nürburgring at that exact week, so I'll see how it goes. As I said.
Good. Okay, well that's what I want to see. I want to see you come back and smash it next week, but. I'm going to leave you on one final reminder. SRL Hungary in the wet. Do you remember Nicholas's start?
Yeah, I remember his start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you scared?
That
says enough. That says enough.
No. I'm scared because I got taken out in turn 1 in that race. So I hope that doesn't. There isn't a repeat of that.
Well, I guess we'll find out next week. But thank you so much, Hypers. Congratulations on getting another race victory. And stop doing this on the last lap. My heart can't handle this.
I'll make sure to secure it earlier. Don't worry. Next
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the end of the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Germany. It's been an absolute pleasure. Mr. Kodiak, thank you so much for joining me in the commentary booth. As always, it is such a fun experience being alongside you. And honestly, it's a dream come true every single time. So thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week in Hungary.